Shrek, yo, what's your favorite cuisine? I eat frogs and bugs and dung beetle pie. Sometimes I eat my snot and I don't know why. Mariama, 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 Mariama Dake.
Ah, we want your crawfish.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone, or welcome if you're new. I'm Christina, this is my brother Spencer, and we made this podcast to just show that communication is key in all aspects of life. If there's anything that we talk about in this podcast that you would like to hear more on, or if there's something that you don't hear us talk about that you would like our opinion on, you can always let us know on our social media, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can let us know in the comments below. We're also on Spotify, so if you're running or throwing Christmas trees out of balconies, just turn on Spotify and you can listen. You don't even have to watch.
Yeah, but you should watch because throwing a Christmas tree is very, very un-Christmas-like. And that's perfect because it's February. So everybody go to your local tree store, go ahead and grab one of their trees and toss it straight out the front door. They're going to ask why and tell them it's not the season no more, Santa. And then leave them a nice gift card and pay them $5 for doing such task. Support the local mission. Okay, but
support the local mission.
Yeah, the local mission of throwing the trees out the window. Yes, it's a new company, new business, new idea. Thanks. But yes, check us out on all those. We have our new skit. It's going to be posted the day that we record this. It will become a fairly consistent thing in the future. Probably not soon, as there's going to be plans, but it will be interesting. Lots of new content, new stuff, and it finally has come. You know, the gas station's finally open. So thank you all for tuning in, and let's get into it today. Yeah.
Slay.
Oh.
Oh.
So in lining of the 10th, what's in 4 days from now?
Dragon year.
That's today.
Oh.
Which we can talk about that too.
Oh, I'm sure you're talking about Valentine.
Yep.
Why are you talking about it? You don't even got a boo.
It doesn't matter that I don't got a boo. I was interested on when it was founded because they talk about all these other places and I'm like, where's the origin?
So you said you were interested in the founder. Like,
let me pull.
The founding father? Which one?
The founding father of Valentine's Day, which actually I think within the Bible, at least what I've seen from here, it is showing that I did not even press the record button on this. Oh no. Why is it? There it is. Okay, we're going to get that recorded, but don't worry about that at the moment. But Valentine's Day roots back to 496 AD.
How do we know this?
How do we know this? Through books, through telecommunications, through telepathy.
Do you participate in that task?
Let's just say, I know what a flying saucer is. So let's see here. I don't want to know about my warranty status. Why is all the notifications coming up right now? Yeah, I don't want warranties. Thanks. So it's on 496 AD when Pope Gelasius the first established a feast day to honor the martyr date of Saint Valentine of Rome. So it's interesting. Is it a person? Because that's what I am sensing from this, is that it's a person. Yes, it was a priest, actually. So one person was the reason why. He wanted to spread love. So that's why they also created Cupid as well, too, to shoot people with arrows. Because it's Rome. They do that.
Like, I really love you.
Yeah. And then it will be like, till death do us part, right? And you think it's a part of the ceremony. And it is. You make sure
stabbed with arrows.
No. You shoot the arrows, or maybe toss them right through somebody's stomach. But yeah, they have like a festival for it. And then what is this supposed to be about? Yeah, it is about love. Couples worldwide, apparently, this is a worldwide phenomenon that they call love. What is it? History.com can tell us. At the end of the 5th century, nobody loved. Everybody fell into the roses, and nobody knew who Saint Valentine was. If you were to ask somebody today who St. Valentine was, what would you say the percent chance of them knowing it is worldwide?
Probably like not very high. But they might know who Nick Valentine is.
Now, how do you think they know him? Any smooches with him?
For those of you that don't know, he's from Fallout.
He's from Fallout. He's a detective. He does have a heart, actually, for his little shack. So you know it's him. He'll give you a smooch as soon as you enter.
No, he's not.
With his gun. Nick Valentine, isn't he a synth?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a smooch then. So, to go on about his story as well, too, modern traditions, usually it's with flowers, cards, and candy. I have not seen that yet, but I have done deliveries for cards and stuff for people before. And, like last year, I actually do remember this. I walked into a coffee shop, and they got it to them in the morning, and they said, don't tell them who it's from. And they're already going to know, but they always keep it anonymous. A lot of gift orders during that time. And I brought it in, and she's like, oh, is it you? And I'm like, I'm a synth, ma'am.
What if somebody, because we're thinking they obviously know who, the person is, their significant other. What if they just got a lot of, other people on the side, and they're like, ooh, I don't know which boo this is from.
There are people who have that. That would be called your side bitch. And this goes for man and woman, because there are some that are like that.
It's Rebecca. She's fighting back.
Rebecca said, I don't want to be a part of your crew.
It's the Twinklies. They're caught
I
on
know.
Rebecca.
I know. Rebecca's going to make it through, though. She has a Valentine in the other corner over there. Russell.
And Russell's not over here falling over.
He's not. He's staying completely still because Twinkly's not wrapped up in him. Just like what you were talking about. What if they have a boo on the side? Twinkly and Rebecca. Yeah, exclusive. But yeah, Valentine's Day is interesting because that's what usually happens. It's usually a bunch of chocolates on display. Get them the largest bears. But my thing is why can't you show it in another form? Why can't you just take him dancing? You remember iCarly, random dancing? I am Spencer, and I want to do that. But I think there's other ways to express it than just the classic way of doing it. I know it shows the appreciation, and maybe the girl, I don't think the man is typically like, you didn't give me fucking flowers? What a bitch. I don't think he's like that.
I feel like there's a thing that I don't like about Valentine's Day is I feel like it's more put onto the man to do. Like the man has to get the girl everything. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they should both get each other something.
Yes, agreed. It should be in a different type of manner that's like to them. It's not like, oh, it's your favorite color, roses. No, that's the most cheesiest thing. Maybe one year, that's cool. Every year?
I mean, I think flowers are nice, but I don't think it should just be on Valentine's. That's also the thing about Valentine's. I don't like that it's oh, that one day a year you show the most love. You should be showing your partner love every day. It shouldn't be oh, you get the most amount of love this day just because it's Valentine's Day.
And then February 15th, oh, you look like a disaster.
People do that for Valentine's Day, for anniversaries, and then the rest of the year I feel like they just don't love the person enough.
I don't know if it's shown. Intimacy is kind of hard to see because it's usually hidden away from sight because it's their own little circle, own little bubble. And then they have their professional and family life. So I can see the differentiation with that. And that's not always seen. But I have seen it yesterday. I was delivering, and these were high schoolers, I think, coming back because they had backpacks on. And he had walked her to her apartment. And what was interesting is I was literally delivering to the neighbor. So I walked over there. I started walking over there and I look up, and it was the only time I looked up at that point. And it was right when they were kissing. And then they looked over at me.
They're like, oh, so we got a stalker.
No, I don't think that was the conclusion. I think they were a bit flustered, actually, just because I looked up and I saw that they were doing it. It wasn't supposed to be seen. I don't know, maybe they kind of felt vulnerable with it at that time. I think that was mainly it. It was that. It was not anything else. It was not me going to be like, Oh.
I feel like you would have got punched in the face or something if you made that noise.
No, I doubt that. I think they were just giving me like faces like, but I don't think it would be anything to a further extent.
Well, let's find out.
Let's find out on Valentine's Day. Do you really love her? I think you do. Can you punch me in the face?
I don't know if I would go that far, but...
Well, if we tried out the technique, is right when they kiss and you're like, ugh, possible.
You just go into a restaurant on Valentine's Day, just like, ugh.
And then they're like, well, what's wrong? Your toenails are too long.
Why do you know that? Are they wearing flip-flops or something?
That would be like Impractical Jokers right there, where they give you a phrase like that.
Yeah, for sure. Say something just so out of pocket.
Your wintergreen is kind of smelling weird today.
Like they're chewing tobacco, or?
It's interesting that you knew that. I was thinking more gum, but I didn't know you did that chew like that. My bad.
No, I don't personally.
Oh, you chew heavily. You know every brand. Copenhagen. No, that's definitely not a habit to pick up. I don't know where the sensation of that comes. Like, I don't just pick up dirt and I'm like, damn, it's good. But that's what it's like. It's just like a bunch of, like if I was to put like rosemary and thyme in my mouth, similar sensations, just mix it with dirt and you got yourself some
I think it's just the flavor of it, whatever it is.
It's just a lot of nicotine. It's a heavy
Yum.
part of the diet every day. You know that's actually a part of how people can lose weight too. Nicotine
a day. Keeps the doctor right next to you. With an IV.
Every day. No, that would actually be crazy. Because tobacco in a way is actually good. It's the processing that is not. Like, the difference between you just having the tobacco itself and then using it, there's a 2 times difference in the amount of chemicals that are released. So you release 7,000 different chemicals depending on the one that you have. Marlboro's, I believe, is the example of this.
Example.
Man, I just lost like this part of my chin said, huh? But the example of this would be Marlboro having 7,000 chemicals just in the tobacco not being lit, but 14,000 different chemicals going off once you do light it. That's insane. Why do you want that many chemicals going off? Why can't it just be the tobacco? Because when it's just the tobacco, it's not as harmful. Anything's harmful in excess, but tobacco is good in small quantities. Suppressing appetite is one of the common side effects that you would get from that. And that's why people who smoke cigars can do intermittent day fasting, because you take something like that suppresses appetite and you can do it. But you could do it outside of that if you train your brain and body to be like, we're not eating at this time. Nope. And your stomach's gonna be like, oh. But you're not gonna allow it to go because you're like, you ain't no monster truck. Not in my house. We don't have Hot Wheels. So.
You do though.
Not here. I have a storage facility, 1,400 square feet. Every Hot Wheel you can ever imagine. Racing across the track, time, existence.
Are the erasers with them?
The erasers are they're attached because every eraser deserves a car. I guarantee it.
Did anybody used to, you know those erasers that aren't like a typical eraser, like they have a design or something on them? Did anybody used to race them? Because this man over here used to.
I'll describe what I mean by this. Let's just say I have statistics of some of the champions of the eraser championship. We have Ghost. Ghost was a little chopped up as an eraser. I wish I could have images for you. Y'all would love it. But there were a lot of different eraser choices. You had the one that you put on the back of the number 2 pencil, just a regular pink one. It had that pointy triangle tip, a little roundness right there. Normal. But how are you going to go up against Big Pink Eraser in certain competitions? You can't beat him down you can beat him down the line, but when you have obstacles, he's never a winner.
Wait, they had obstacles?
They had obstacles. You had to go down a dresser, and there was enough, it was differences of force that went into it, but all about where they were sitting on the track. I would just keep them all there. So if you were the first contestant, you were the luckiest because you had the opportunity to get your first little spot. If you were like the 30th eraser, you fell all the way to the back. Nobody wanted to include you in. Just like in class. In Miss Gomez's class.
I did not have a teacher named Miss Gomez.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were aware of my history.
Teacher?
Yeah, what were my teachers' names then? Third grade teacher. This is a security question, so write it down.
You're like, I'll give you my username, and then here's my answer to my security question.
You just need one of them, so let's go ahead and put it out.
Miss Vaughn?
Holy shit. How do you know that?
Because
You're welcome. Yeah, that's crazy. How did you know her?
Well, she wasn't my teacher, but she was yours.
How did you remember that, though?
I don't know. Just popped in my head.
Okay, what about 4th grade? Because that would be insane.
It was a mister, wasn't it?
Nope.
Wait.
It was the sternest teacher I had.
Miss Lewis.
No.
Miss Lowe. I don't know them.
It's all right. We'll look it up online. No, it's Miss Spiegel.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you remembered a portion of that.
Because I didn't have her. I had Miss Lowe in 4th grade.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because that changed. I think, was she the on-level teacher? Oh, wait, there was an on-level
Excuse
stuff.
me?
I'm just trying to state that you look smarter than you actually are. Oh, shots fired across.
It's okay.
And then
50 other comments have told me how dumb I am, so.
Yeah. We all have our own types of intelligence as well, too.
Are you calling me not intelligent?
No, I'm not stating that. I think that there is a categorical way of looking at intelligence because you have emotional intelligence, then you have what people call street smart, then you have your book smart, then you have people who can answer the questions to life. Like, I think there's different traits or different categories that you can branch it off to. It's like a hierarchy of intelligence. Intelligence is the all-known IQ, right? Is all information itself, but the type of IQ that you use in certain situations actually shows your intelligence. I would say that's reactive intelligence. Like if somebody were to come up to you and try to start a fight, but not in a way that it's physical, they just want to verbally attack you, randomly throughout the day. Your reaction is important and it shows your intelligence. If you analyze the situation enough, you'll be like, what is their point of them doing that? Why are they attacking me in this manner? And then you're able to kind of pivot and make your own moves. But if you're not trained in that, you don't have intelligence with that. That's why I'd also put common sense under intelligence too. Although that can be very widespread of what that even means. Because common sense could be like, oh yeah, negative, positive terminal, make sure to put it on the right one. Or, oh, the doorknob, to lock it, you put it one way, to unlock it, put it the other way. You could say that, but some people wouldn't even have that type of intelligence. Like, for instance, autism does not remember those certain traits. I was reading about this because they were kind of talking about how autism cannot be seen by, one situation that I'll explain here in a second, but Down syndrome individuals can. So basically, let's say that I have a box and you have a box as well too, but I have something that's underneath my box that I want to keep. Let's say it's a key. Well, I walk away to go do something. You come over and take the key and put it in your box.
Yay.
Right? So you have the key and then I come back. What do you think? Where do you think the key is? Where do you think it is?
Well, I just put it in my box, so it's in my box.
Right. It would make sense that that's the case. if you knew that. But if you didn't know that that was the case and you were looking at outside perspective, like you were watching a movie, you'd be like, okay, well, they're not going to know that. So they're going to be like, okay, they're going to look in their box then. Because that's the question, is where are they going to do next? Where are they going to look for the key at? Well, you're going to know that it's in there, but the character's not going to know that, right? So people with Down syndrome choose the correct answer, which the correct answer is that person would look in their box because they didn't think anything else happened of it. Whereas autistic people do not. It's a very low percentage. I think it's a 35% whenever they ran the test. And with Down syndrome, it was 80% guessed correctly. Only 35% guessed correctly of that because they don't understand the difference between like that thing, even though they observed it. They're like, I don't understand why it's just not there because that's where it ended up. They don't have all the in-between emotion and all the other stuffs. They just go directly to the point of the thing. Now, that's just like a small fraction of like trying to build off of how they kind of differentiate the different things on the DSM-5 when they talk about dissociative disorders. And that's what they were talking about. And I thought that was very interesting because I'm like, wow, somebody with Down syndrome can understand that, but somebody that's autistic cannot understand that. And that's interesting because that's a form of intelligence right there, is they have the understanding. I think they called it like the theory of like knowledge is how they kind of described it and put it together. But I thought it was interesting because each one has a different way of going about it. But most people wouldn't know that. Like I didn't know that before I read it. I was like, wow, I didn't know that there was that differentiation. Now I haven't met a lot of people with, you know, Down syndrome or who are autistic and have really paid attention to those traits when they were there. But I think it's interesting information. Psychology is always an interesting realm to delve into and understand.
If you can't understand it.
Yeah, but that is a form of intelligence where ways like street talk. Like if I was to come up and be like, yeah, I want some of that Kush, what do you think I'm talking about?
Drugs.
Exactly, but what drug specifically?
Weed.
There we go. See, that is a form of intelligence of just knowing street smarts. And that's basic. It would seem to some people, whereas the people who are book smart are kind of away from all of that. They don't think in that manner of like, well, what is that? Because they haven't been associated with that aspect of stuff. Whereas I have to have an understanding of that. Now, technology has kind of changed that a little bit, but it hasn't changed the fact that street smarts are still going to be street smarts. Like I can't walk into an area where I'm not familiar with the street and the way that they talk because I'll be ratted out immediately. Like as like, this kind of looks weird. This person being here is kind of odd. But if you knew how to talk there, you could be able to move through there, right? So I think that kind of goes with anything, even in a job as well too. Like you're more likely to get the job if you understand the questions that they're asking and the answers that they're trying to do. It's called predictive programming that we automatically do. The humans do that typically. This is another part where autism does not understand that. It can't predict something that's going to happen after. Like if they're trying to tie their shoes, they may completely forget that they have to put on their shoes before going outside, which is insane. But it's like those motor functions aren't there. But you take somebody with dementia, they know exactly how to do it because it's that motor cortex working and having that functionality to be able to do that. Whereas autistic individuals don't have that, but it can be developed through training, just like anything. Like any trauma can also be worked through, but it's got to be worked through in the way that you're going to find the answers that you're looking for. Not the person that's diagnosing or going through the thing. They're just putting you like through different trials and trying to get you to understand what's here. So did you ever have individuals that you knew around you that went to therapy as like friends in middle school or early elementary even?
To therapy?
Yeah. I mean, there are some that have gotten therapy from a very young age.
Not that I know of. I mean, even until recently, I feel like mental health was kind of a thing where it was almost like if there was something wrong with you mentally, like you were considered crazy. I mean, even growing up, like with our grandma, like she was called crazy.
Yeah. It's even like abnormal depending on the behavior. And that's very varied what's considered normal. But I think it's having social awareness at that point, enough social awareness to not, I guess, break out into whatever that is. Because like how we do our intros and stuff, that could be considered not normal. They'd be like, you're crazy. And in a way we all kind of are, but there's still sanity to it, because when you're watching the rest of it, you're like, okay, they're talking normal, because we've made whatever that normal is the communication of just, you know, being able to talk to one another. Because that's another thing that, you know, Down syndrome and autistic people have, is they don't understand that social dynamic that has to occur in conversation. It's harder for them to do it. They can, again, I've seen a lot of them develop into that. People who were autistic as kids, they're doing fine as adults. They had so many stories in the book showing that too. They would talk about how they were in the future. It's just they need a little bit more training. That's why in school it's good that they have those programs for the special needs kids, because then they're focusing on that. Whereas they're not in class like falling behind and not understanding stuff because they don't have enough attention drawn to them where they can help grow something.
Yeah, I think it's harder as like a kid to be like, talk about mental health. Just because one, like you don't really understand it as a kid, and then not wanting to seem crazy, I guess, because that's what like people tend to say about anybody that has something wrong mentally, like, oh, you're just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even the kids are saying that too. They'll just go up to the other ones like, why are you acting weird? And they'll already be able to differentiate that at such a young age because they can communicate. But they'll see that. And unfortunately, that's what happens, because kids are very judgmental, because they're playing off of, you know, their parents. They're not fully developed. Like, I think in the book, whenever they're like wanting their first words, whenever they're trying to have an association to themselves, they'll be like, mine. And it's annoying to the parent, of course, because it's just like, you can't be going out there in public and doing that. Like, you can't be going out to a restaurant and somebody's eating spaghetti and meatballs and being like, mine, and then you take it. You can't do that.
Mine.
You can, just consequences, but you can't like have that ongoing, because then it's just going to lead to a social stigma of like who you are at that point.
My only word is mine.
Are you a Minecraft user? Is that why?
No, but you are.
No, but I think that the mental health sphere is opening to a very large realm. And in Maslow's hierarchy, as I may have talked about a while ago, that is the next part that I think we're developing in our stages of it. I think it's a repetitive cycle too. You start off with those basic necessities of people being fed, all the shelter, that type of stuff. But then mental health is that next one, because you're looking back at yourself now, and people are becoming more self-conscious or self-aware of themselves, if they choose to be. Like, that is more widespread and available. But I think the people who take those mental illnesses and they're like, that defines me, that is a losing spiral that you won't fall out of unless you accept the fact that I may be this thing, but it doesn't have to be me.
I mean, I think with mental health being more talked about and people kind of showing that it's okay to get help, it's made it a lot easier for people to kind of come out of it. Not completely, because, I mean, stuff like, you know, depression is, for a lot of people, a lifelong thing that happens, and there's no real cure for it, but they're able to manage it a lot better, especially with all of the resources that we have now, and people being more open to being like, yeah, like, you should get help, like, you shouldn't have to suffer.
Where do you think those, like, depression stems from?
I mean, a lot of it is like, how do you say, genetic. Others, maybe like trauma that happens in their life is why it develops for them. I would say those are the two main things, is genetics and trauma.
And do you think there's not a cure to either one of those?
I mean, I think you can find ways to like help yourself through it, but like trauma, like you can heal yourself, but it's always going to be that thing that you know happened. And there's going to be times where maybe you just kind of get down when you're thinking about it. I mean, same thing with like genetic. You kind of can't really, sometimes it just comes out of nowhere and you're like, my life is great. Why am I feeling so sad? And there's no real answer for it. I mean, I know some, I guess, scientific way of thinking about it is like the chemicals in your brain just like aren't working right, which is why some people go on medication to help fix that. But I wouldn't say there's a definite cure for it. I think it's more of a lifelong thing that you have to manage.
Do you think there's a definite cure for anything?
I mean, yeah.
Like, do you have an example of what one of those is? Like, in your opinion?
I mean, aren't there like illnesses that there are already cures for?
But, well, that's why I'm asking. Like, is there like one that comes to mind as an example that it is like the cure? Like that you feel is the cure for?
No, there's nothing that comes to mind. I know a lot of things that don't have a cure.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's true, but I guess it's what, like, you determine what is the cure for it.
Like not having to go through it anymore? Like ever again? Isn't that what a cure is?
But like, what, by ever again, do you mean that it never happened then?
Not that it never happened, but it doesn't, I mean, I guess maybe not necessarily a cure. I guess what I'm thinking about, because if we think about stuff like strep throat, you could get that like multiple times, and there is technically like a cure for it, something to make it go away. They give you antibiotics to help.
But is that a cure or is that a treatment?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not exactly like a cure, because that doesn't mean you're never going to get it again. So I guess that one would be more of a treatment.
Yeah, okay. And that's what I mean, because like, if we were to talk about headache, you're like, okay, ibuprofen, Advil, that type of stuff. If you're thinking laxatives, you're thinking milk of magnesia, you're thinking the little tablets, or like a citric, magnesium citrate, I believe is what it's called. Those types of things. They help alleviate it, but I don't think they take it away entirely. I think there's a part of you that still has to heal beyond that on each part of it. It's just a possible treatment that you can use for it. And if it's the cure, I just don't know what would be considered one as a cure. If it alleviates all, I guess a definition would be good on what cure is. Because there's a lot of treatments. Relief of the symptoms of a disease or condition. So that can mean that treatments are a cure, just based off of that first one as a verb, because it's relief of symptoms. It doesn't say that those symptoms are gone, because they can come back. So that means it was cured, but only temporarily. So that means it would be based off of time then.
So then nothing is ever really cured.
Yeah.
It's just treated.
Yeah. Well, according to the definition, relief of it, technically, everything would be a cure in some sort of way then. It's just, I guess, how we perceive the word itself. That's why I want to bring up the definition, because I'm like, how people see that could differentiate, like, the actual meaning for it. Like, you go into the doctors, they could say the interchangeableness of both words, but also you have the other one, which is preserve by various methods such as salting, drying, or smoking, like curing something, which
completely different than what we were talking about.
well, it's completely different, but in terms of preserving it, that almost would be like a treatment as well too. And they even call it that as well, like treating a fish. That is something that they've used in the cooking industry. So I don't know, it's interesting to see like what actually has it and what doesn't. I know everybody has their own way of going about it and trying to find it, but how a person is treated / cured is going to be different than, say, another person when it comes to those things. But I don't think you can completely get rid of it. And that's where I think when I asked like the question about the cure, I'm thinking, does the family history in terms of what they did have that effect of giving them this so-called karma? And would they ever be able to get to that cure of that karma?
But like, what are we talking about in terms of?
Well, like thinking, like you can think of yourself or somebody else that you may know in terms of, do you think that there is a cure to that trauma that they are going through, or that you may be going through?
I don't understand the question.
Well, do you believe that there is a cure to the trauma, like a family trauma, a consistent thing that's happened throughout the family's history?
I don't know, maybe.
That's why I was asking in terms of like yourself or somebody else that you might know.
I just need an example.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess let's say that the person always, whenever they get angry, they would always like punch something.
Isn't that something you need to work through personally?
Right. That's something that you work through personally. But do you
So then I don't have an answer to if there's a cure for it. That's up to the person. If they feel like what they're doing is wrong and it's harmful to others or themselves, then that's the only way that they're going to figure out if there's a cure for that. If they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, then no, they're not going to find a cure. It's just going to continue.
Yes. The thing is the differentiating is, do they work on it or do they not work on it, right? But I think the thing that's going to make them work toward it is if they believe that it will be a cure for them. Because that's how the placebo effect works, right? Like I can give you this thing and be like, oh, you're not going to have a headache if you take this. But it could just be a placebo. So you're telling yourself, oh, it could work. But you feel different. You feel that it had worked. And there's different experiments where they do this, where one of them is they have you looking at somebody hitting a hand with a hammer, and your hand is sitting right here, but you can feel it whenever they hit it because you can't see your hand. So you have an immediate reaction to it. It's crazy because that distinction between the two, and yet it's still the same. It's a part of you, but it's not actually a part of you. You can just sense it through some sort of energy field. And I think that's where the sense of belief comes with those particular things. If you put that energy toward that cure that you believe is the cure, you can't get out of that. Now, some may be temporary, and that's why you're always testing. But I think if you have that consistency of having belief first, you are closer to being healed. And that's why I always see with religious people, they're always talking about how they're healed and they seem like, they're walking with God and doing all these things. And they seem of great happiness whenever they're going about their lives. And they seem content with it. So in their way, they found their own cure going through that, in believing in something. Because when you don't believe in anything, there's not cures, but yet there's more problems. You have more symptoms to whatever it leads to. And by the belief of anything, that's like the belief literally in anything. Like you getting out of bed, you don't believe that you can do it, so you don't leave.
I mean, it's all in the mindset. However you think, that's what's going to happen. Whatever you believe to be true is true. Whatever you believe to be wrong is wrong. If you say, oh, I can't do it, you're correct. If you say you can, you're also correct.
Right, because words are magic at that point. Because in a way, that is a spell that you are putting out. Because every way that you communicate and that you talk with somebody, it brings that sense of yourself out, and it makes you accountable for something at that point. Because you have put that down. Like, I'm going to get out of bed today. Boom. And then you make the action happen. You are aligning both of those, which puts you on an upward trajectory. But that application is so easy with such a minuscule task like that. To somebody else, that might not be that small. That might be the largest thing in their day. But that's where, when you keep building that monumental climb of getting out of there, that's where it's possible with anybody. Anybody coming from any part. Somebody could have just got beat up for the past 4 months. Somebody could have been in jail for the past 20 years. Somebody could have been in a car wreck 5 times in the past day. And still...
In the past day?
Yeah, it was an intense traffic. New York City was banging.
How did they get in a car accident and then, like, didn't have to, like, go through insurance or anything, and then got in another car accident?
No. What do you mean through insurance? Oh, you mean where they would tow the car and stuff?
If they're only getting in minor accidents, first of all, they should just get off the road after, like, accident 2.
How would you know that, though? That would be personalized to you. How do you know that that would have happened, though? 5 times in a row. It could just be random. Like you were just going out throughout your day.
You just said 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
You got into a car accident.
I didn't say, not me specifically. I'm stating that as an example of somebody who has done that to build out of it.
Saying you specifically, you said somebody's in their car and gets into an accident 5 times in one day.
Yes.
After accident 2, they should be like, I'm getting off the road and I'm not driving for the rest of the day.
But that would be to you, though. That would be your choice. That person might...
That person's like, oh, let me go for 3 more tries.
They don't know that there's 3 more tries.
And then they get hit the 3rd time and they're like, yeah, let me go on the road again. Gets hit a 4th time. They're like, ooh, let me chance my luck again.
You bring up a good point, though, because this is where people start to bring in, like, bigger things become smaller things now. Like, this is a perfect example. Is, let's say that you had this bad accident out in public where, like, you dropped a bag of Cheetos and everybody was laughing at you. Right? So then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to drop anything ever again. So you go to the grocery store, nothing's amiss. And then all of a sudden you kind of almost lost control of something that was right there. And you're like, I can't do that again. So then you go home and you're like, I'm just going to order my groceries. And then you hear like people on the TV, they're talking and they start laughing whenever you drop something whenever you were in your house. This has probably happened before. And they're like, not to me. But this is something that has occurred. And then now they don't even want to have the TV on, so they're just sitting in silence.
Ooh, spooky.
But that is the feedback loop. So you say after 2, somebody will just be like, I'm not driving, period. Like anymore for the rest of my life because of that.
I did not say the rest of your life.
I know you didn't say that.
I'm saying the rest
I know
of
you
the day.
didn't say that. But that's what the loop can do after that second time, because you're just like, I ain't going on the road after the second accident. Well, somebody might not go out on the road after their 10th accident or after their first accident, or they may have not even had an accident. They're just that scared of it.
Because they saw somebody get into an accident 5 times in one day.
This is the same person that didn't even get into an accident.
Yeah, because they heard about the person that got into an accident.
Who said that they heard about that? They could just be scared of driving, period. It makes them anxious, which I know somebody who's in that scenario.
I know somebody who was in that scenario, but now does drive.
Yeah. So those little things can just hold throughout time without going to the next thing. So that's where building off of that comes down. You know, you come back to the basics. You make your bed. You put everything together that you need to put together for the day. Like, even if it was just that throughout the day, it is better than just sitting there and literally not doing anything. Because you have to do something to provide, not only for yourself, but for others. Somebody can't do that the entire life that you're going.
But what if I wanted to follow Bruno Mars when he said, I don't want to do anything today?
Yeah, you're talking about the Lazy song. And you can believe that, which people who probably have sung that song, like with their heart out, probably have done that.
Like with their heart out of their chest?
Yes, Egyptian style. Yes, they rip it straight out. So, no more heart. But, yeah, they would do something like that. Bruno Mars. Lazy song. Somebody would just be lazy.
Does he still make music?
Yeah. Have you not heard him?
Is he outside the window?
No, no.
He just starts singing. Wait, he throws the tree back in here.
And then he's playing the Lazy song, and then we turn into cymbal monkeys until we explode.
No, I just mean I haven't heard anything from him in a while.
Yeah, I don't think he's been coming out with stuff. He's probably on FBI's Most Wanted.
For what?
He stole like a lifetime supply of garbanzo beans without permission from U.S. Foods.
This is a rumor, guys.
This isn't even a news story. I just created it today. They're going to be like, next on fake news, Bruno Mars eating garbanzo beans out of the trash? Find out next week, 10 p.m. Yeah, it's super late. It's a late night show.
Late night show with the Suspensey.
Yeah, with the Spency. And then it would, here's how the intro goes. Your news for another station. Hi. Welcome in today. We have Bruno Mars eating garbanzo beans out of the trash. Now, a lot of people tell me, that's stupid. I think it's pretty fucking smart. Let's go to our meteorologist, Tim, to see how many garbanzos are falling out of the sky.
Who's Tim?
We didn't have enough on the budget to get somebody else in the studio. So it just went at the wall for a second. And now it's back to me. Because we're fake news. They're going to have that, clip it as a quote. So anything that we say that is truthful, they're just going to be like, well, he said this during the podcast too.
He said fake
He
news.
was wearing the same exact pillow.
Is that your outfit? Just a pillow?
Hopefully they can't see.
I don't want to see.
That would be crazy. Somebody comes out in public, just duct tapes a bunch of pillows around themselves.
You know what's so funny about that is that
You saw this today.
somebody did. Kanye West makes his new wife wear these like ridiculous outfits. One of them, she was like, the only thing she had was a pillow covering her. She was holding a pillow, walking around.
Wait, but what about like, that was the only thing? Just one pillow?
Just a pillow covering the front of her.
That's it? Like no, nothing for the bottom?
No, like the pillow was like covering
Oh.
the front.
Oh.
But yeah, he makes her wear these really just like revealing outfits.
So he's still alive. Because I haven't heard about him in a while, but media doesn't like him.
I mean, when he makes people do that, but then he's like fully clothed, even has a ski mask on. How does that make any sense?
Multiple ski masks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on with him that I don't know about now. I haven't heard about him in a while. That's the first time I've heard about him. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. After him and Kim Kardashian got divorced, he married another woman, and then now he makes her, like, she has to dress however he says. Even though he's out here, like, fully clothed in winter gear. Doesn't make any sense. He also doesn't wear shoes, which, to each their own, I guess, but...
I think that it could be helpful for the feet, because just over time, like, maybe not walking the streets, but, like, walking out in the, like,
Well, he has socks on, but, like, he just doesn't wear shoes.
That's good. They call that grounding. You know what that is?
Where he starts eating the ground?
No, it's where he gets an excavator and starts digging out dirt. No. He calls Bob the Builder. He's like, hey, cuz, you got the equipment?
He's like, I'm ready for work.
I'm ready
And then
to
Bob's
munch
like-
that dirt.
And then Bob's like, you don't got no steel-toed boots on. You can't work today.
You ain't OSHA certified. Get that cap off.
Go ahead and take it off and clock out for the day. Come back when you get your boots on.
Yeah, also get a better hammer. You look terrible. Bob is really big about his hammers.
Dang, you and Bob close?
Nah, we're really close.
Besties.
Yeah, we're besties for life. That's my Valentine.
Have you ever had a Valentine?
Yes, a fair amount.
A fair amount? Like, how many are we talking?
Well, I know that I think I was asked out on Valentine's Day when I was in middle school.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say that's when the relationship started, was actually Valentine's Day.
Must be nice. I've been alone every Valentine's Day my whole life.
Oh. But you've gotten stuff for Valentine's Day, though.
No.
Yes, you have.
From my mother.
Nope. Are we okay, I'm talking about lifetime here. Okay, only from your mother. Apparently you didn't go to school.
Who is giving me Valentines at school?
I don't know. The teachers pass them out. The kids make some for each
You're
other.
in like elementary and you have to give something to everyone.
That's still a Valentine, and I was just talking about middle school.
Wait, so you didn't have an actual Valentine? It was just...
I don't know what you mean by actual Valentine. Do you mean Valentine from the game, or do you mean a real Valentine like a person? I don't understand.
I mean, like a real Valentine, like a person, like...
Yes, we have in elementary and middle.
What's her name?
Elementary and middle.
Both. I
Oh.
want both names.
Oh wait, that was 6th grade for that one. Miranda. I'm not giving full names with.
I need her full name and her social security and where she currently resides.
Social Security 149. No, I was gonna name out some random numbers. Somebody actually types in, and it's actually it's George Bush's. It's actually Bob the Builder's. Yeah. So elementary, that I don't think I had it for high school though. I don't think I had one for high school.
I've never had one.
Again.
And we're not counting the kids that have to give them in school.
Have to give them to them.
Like, I mean, like an actual Valentine.
I know what you mean, but it's just like your wording of actual Valentine. I'm thinking of like Cupid if he came over to kiss me, but that's not it. So, no. But I know what you mean, like actually spending Valentine's Day with somebody.
Yes.
That's probably how I would put it, instead of saying I didn't have one. Technically, we all have, because it's just a part of our culture and society, is to show love, even though there is a lot of war against one another. Like me and you. Should have ate the Cheez-Its.
Here we go with the Cheez-Its again that I've never had.
That you've had 50 times. I remember, like, back when you were in 2nd grade, you
I don't even remember back when I was 2nd grade. How do you remember?
You do. You've said memories beforehand.
I have, like, these, like, little random memories, but I can't, like, actually remember.
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Like, I couldn't tell you a day in my life in 2nd grade.
I don't think, actually, that's a very good question. Do you think anybody could recite a whole day of their life?
Like, from back when or, like, now? Because I can do a day in my life now. Good morning, everybody. I woke up. Oh, now I'm going to go back to sleep because I'm actually a little tired and I want to be up right now. Okay, now I'm awake. First thing I do when I get up out of bed is make my bed.
Is make the mop water so I can make sure that my carpet's cleaned in the living room.
Ew.
Is that not part of their itinerary?
Why are you mopping carpet?
Are you kidding me? We gotta keep this place shiny, teeth that sparkle.
Well, there goes our carpet getting moldy.
it already was after a water heater busted. The 2023 incident of the year. Y'all heard that here.
Y'all remember that? We sat out on the porch in one chair.
Oh yeah, we were in one chair. One of them actually fell off with the tree.
No, we were trying to put both of them out there, but then we realized the porch was not big enough for both chairs. So we sat in one.
Yeah. And it was actually pretty chilly that day too.
That's why we had the blanket.
I don't know if you could tell, but I did piss myself.
to keep yourself warm?
Yeah, that was a TMZ exclusive too.
TMZ is gonna sue now. They're gonna be like, this is not our exclusive.
Yeah, it's not. And then the Krusty Krab's gonna be like, you want to get hired? Even though the Chum Bucket contacted me 2 weeks ago saying, hey man, you look like you would fit that hat real good, that bucket hat. You would conduct electricity like crazy too. Get hit by a lightning strike.
Instant death.
I don't think so. I think you'd do a backflip like a pepperoni.
Like a pepperoni?
Backflip like a pepperoni.
What pepperonis do you know that are doing backflips?
Hormel. Have you heard of that name? That's the brand of a pepperoni. There's also the H-E-B pepperonis. But Hormel is the most... Is that what
they're called? H-E-B pepperonis?
Yes. They have mini ones too. Applegate also has them as well too.
Applegate? What's going on with the apples now?
They are guarded. So stay on guard. You see a Granny Smith apple trying to throw her cane at you, don't let it happen. Put a hole in her.
Do you like yellow apples?
Oh, no. The Golden Delicious? Absolutely not.
The Golden Delicious? He's like, ugh.
That's what they're called, though. But no, because they're typically... what I hate is sogginess. I need a nice crisp one. I don't want fucking... I don't know, seeping out of itself like it's pissing. I ain't trying to have diaper juice.
It's apple juice.
Yeah, well, some of them, they taste terrible.
I don't like the yellow ones.
Okay, which one's your favorite then?
Probably the red, just because sometimes...
You need specific.
What do you
There's
mean?
so many reds. You have Envy, you have Honey Crisp, you have Pink Lady, you have Ambrosio, you have Red Delicious, you have Opal, you have Snapdragon, you have Evercrisp, you have one that starts with a K, I can't remember it. A Kanzi, you have Gala, Fuji, and that's only a few.
What are you, an apple connoisseur?
I just shop for apples a lot for other people.
This is how I know my apples: red, green, and yellow. I don't like yellow. Green is okay sometimes, and sometimes they're a little too sour for me.
Okay.
So that's why I would go red. No, I'm not going to give you a specific type because I don't know what their names are.
Okay, so when you go to...
They don't whisper their names to me.
When you go to the store... Honey Crisp. When you go to the store, do you, like, just pick any random red apple then? You're like, this one looks red.
I do it without the...
Damn it. That's how you're supposed to pick apples. This is how I go to pick apples. And then I go pick up my Honey Crisp.
R.I.P. everybody's ears. You better give them a warning first.
No, I shot it away from them.
Uh-huh.
Like a beacon of hope. But, okay, so you just don't... How do you pick them then? You just see a red one?
Well, I don't pick them off the trees. Somebody else does that for me.
Come on. How are you going to let Dusty do that?
I mean, I hope he wasn't getting his dust on my apples. But...
That's his name. Don't make fun of it. He's a rancher in Marble Falls. That's not true. I have no idea.
There you go, giving out locations again. Are you kidding? They're getting closer.
Uh-oh! Toronto!
What if it's like we're actually not in the United States?
They would probably tell by our accent. We live in the Pacific Ocean. That's how they're able to tell.
We live in the Pacific Ocean. What, on a boat?
On a houseboat.
Oh my god. I get seasick every day.
Oh, you do?
You don't see me throwing up every day?
No, not enough.
You say not enough?
Yeah, you should be throwing up 3 times a day.
All I said was I throw up every day. I didn't say how many times I throw
Yeah,
up.
it's not enough. Get the numbers up.
Pretty sure it's unhealthy, but...
That is very unhealthy. But somehow recommended by doctors. If you swallow something you shouldn't have swallowed. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that is definitely what you should be doing.
If you drink battery acid...
You better be going to the toilet.
Why not the trash can? You wouldn't go to the thing that's closest? What if you're out in the park and you're like, I need to find the nearest toilet. I just drank battery acid.
Is this a personal experience?
Let's just say that there's no more battery acid in any of my batteries. Except for these lights and these lights and these lights. But that's only for a little bit of time.
Okay, crackhead central over here.
Have you ever been on battery acid?
No. Dog, you need to put some lotion on your elbows. I can see how crusty they look from over here. But get that microphone out of your mouth. You just stuck that microphone straight in your
I
mouth.
did not. Nobody saw that because I was facing the other way. I was eating my Cheerios in peace. And then you interrupted by calling about a telemarketer who wants to do my taxes.
Okay. I mean, period.
Period.
There goes...
It's taking out everything. The set is getting destroyed.
Rebecca fell again.
All right, well, we're gonna stop at that one. This one is very flimsy.
I can tell it's about to snap.
Yeah, we have products that were built out of Goodwill back in 42. But that's going to be all for this one. Kind of everywhere with this one for sure. But there was a lot of structure in the middle. So if you get to the end, it's going to be a lot of short clips. Expect it from the skits. You got a little skit right there. You weren't even expecting it. And it came in. So thank you all for watching today. Very calm voice. Bob Rossett. And please share, like, subscribe. Look at those skits. You're going to love them. We started off with one today. We're going to have another one next Saturday. Bang, bang. Adios.
Bye, guys.
No quieren hacerme un 4 porque los malos tuchas ponen 1, el 3 soy yo. 4 letras trae el mando, Jalisco cuidando y en Guanajuato el donde ando yo. Ya pasaron las blindadas, dice un camarada, no es gobierno, va arriba el señor.